We are here for our reading. I'm going to read you a really cool story today, and we're going to hear some all words, right? Like paw, saw, claw, dawn, hawk, draw, for all, sit, because, whole, author, August. And we've also been able to recognize that A-L-L or A-L says all, right? A doesn't say A apple, ah, or it's long sound, right? A. That actually makes that weird all sound. So we're going to hear those words in our story today. We're going to hear some of our sight words, which are picture and mother and brother and love and father and friend. So those were our sight words for this week. But there's this word in this story that we're also going to hear, and I want to make sure you guys understand and know what it is. The word is deaf. Deaf. Not death, like when someone dies. Deaf with an F. Anyone know what that means? When someone is deaf, it means they can't hear. Okay? So if you are deaf, it means you are hard of hearing or you cannot hear at all, right? There are different variations. Like someone might have really, really bad hearing. Someone might not be able to hear at all. Sometimes people have, they get hearing aids. Like they might have like a little machine, like very, very, very tiny, and they put it in their ear and it helps them hear better. So there's all different variations of being deaf. But when you're talking about deafness, right? If someone is deaf, it means they can't hear. So imagine having this conversation with me right now, right? Could you listen to this story if you were deaf? No. But think about in class. Think about, were there ever times in class when when we would do something where it didn't require us to hear or to speak? Remember if someone else was talking, we would go like this? And that means me too. And we're using a symbol. We're using our hands, right? Remember when I would quietly tell you guys to stand up or to sit down? I'm using my hands to talk, right? And using my hands to talk, it's called sign language. And where we live here in America, it's called American Sign Language. But just like how we speak English and in other countries, they speak all different languages, sign language has different languages, right? In America, it's American Sign Language. In Australia, it's Australian Sign Language. So it's really cool. And this week, we've been talking about how, in our reading, we've been talking about how people in your life and in your community, they want to help you, right? All kinds of helpers we read on Monday. And yesterday, I read to you about Maya and Kamala's big idea, right? And they found people in their community that wanted to come around and help. And in religion, we're talking about how important it is to help others all over the world, whether they look different, whether they're from a different country, whether they have different abilities, right? If someone's deaf. But in order to be able to help them, we have to know about them, right? And we have to learn, right? First, we talked about it yesterday, we have to learn what they need in order to be able to help. So that means we have to get to know people and know about their different abilities. So the story that I'm going to read to you today is about a girl, and her name is Rosina, okay? And we are going to meet Rosina. That's the name of the story. So because this is all about Rosina, and it's all about her life, this story is nonfiction, right? Remember, nonfiction tells us about real people, real places, real events, right? And this is about Rosina. And can you see at the very top where we see these symbols? That's spelling her name, R-O-S-I-N-A. If I wanted to say Egan, I would say E-G-A-N. So we're going to, this is one reason we know when we read nonfiction stories, usually there's pictures to help us understand more about it. And some of the pictures we're going to see in the story are going to be of the different signs, right? Which is going to be so important because this is kind of hard to understand. But you guys are familiar with signs, right? When we do me too, when we do stand up, when we do sit down, you're familiar and you're used to doing those things. So when we hear about Rosina doing that with her family, it'll make a little more sense. We'll be able to make that connection. So let's read about a girl who's actually a lot like you. And the author is George and Kana. Hi, I'm Rosina. is what she signed. I am deaf, so I talk with my hands. Can you guys practice that? If you say hi, that's very similar, right? Similar to waving or high-fiving, right? Hi. Very simple. I go to a special school for deaf children. All of our teachers teach with American Sign Language. We call this signing. This is the symbol for signing, right? Talking with your hands. We study math, writing, reading, and art. It's the same as in other schools. So even though Rosina is a little bit different because she is deaf and she talks with her hands, she also is very much like you guys. She studies math. We do that. Writing. We do that. Reading and art. We do that too, Rosina. My brother, Emilio, also goes to my school. We play basketball during recess. Do any of your siblings go to your school? And maybe you get to see them during the day, just like Rosina. My mother and aunt are deaf too. They both work at my school. Mom is a teacher's helper. And you can see she's using her hands. We're not sure exactly what she's saying, but we can tell that they're having a discussion, right? Because they're using their hands and that's the way they talk. My Aunt Carla shows us pictures of students who used to go to the school. My mom was one of them. My aunt often tells stories about when my parents were young. Do your aunts and uncles ever tell you stories about your mom and dad? I bet that's something else you have in common with Rosina. Sometimes we go to the school library. Our librarian, Hetty, signs stories from the books in the library. Hetty is good at telling stories. She makes us feel as if we're in the story. The story can make us feel sad, scared, worried, or happy. So can you see the librarian right here, Hetty? Look at the smile on her face, and she's telling something, right? So when you're signing, so much of that's important about the feeling, right? Think about when we read, we find out the point of view of a character, right? So if someone's telling you the story with their hands, they might also use expressions on their face to act it out. So if you were talking about someone being sad, would you talk like this? They're sad. No, you say they're sad, right? And so much of sign language is not just your hands, but using your face and your emotions to help go with those signs, to help you really understand. I love going to art class. I like to paint. Here I am painting a picture of myself. We've made illustrations of ourselves too. Our class made up a story. It is about a deaf father who woke up one day with 4 arms. We wrote it and did all the drawings. Then we made it into a book called Too Many Hands. Wow. What an interesting story. I like sports. We are playing rugby. The way we play is to tag the person carrying the ball. Then he or she throws it to another player on the team. By running fast, we can get away and cross the goal line. Our team plays at other schools. We beat all of the other teams, and accepted a big trophy. If they accepted a big trophy, what does that mean? It means they received, right? And they said, yes, we got this great trophy. We were so happy. We splashed our coach in water. Some of us got wet too. We are all friends, so no one got mad. After school, I shower and change clothes for dinner. Mom likes to fix my hair. She puts it up in a bun, like her mother did. At home, we all help Mom cook meals. I chop lettuce. Emilio cuts up cheese. Dad makes guacamole. Do you guys help your parents out around the house? Sometimes with food or maybe with other chores too, like putting dishes away, right? It's good to help Mom and Dad out. After dinner, Dad and I play a game of chess. Emilio roots for me. Mom, Dad, Emilio, and me. That's my family. But there are many more too. We are a big family. I have lots of aunts, cousins, grandpas, and grandmas. Most of my mom's family is deaf. My whole other family uses sign language to talk to her. This is how we sign goodbye. Goodbye, Rosina. It was so nice to meet you. And here is the author, guys, George Ancala, and he's doing a sign. We know that sign. What does that sign mean? It means, I love you. Did I ever explain to you guys why it means I love you? Well, this is the letter I in sign language. This is the letter L in sign language. So I for I, right? L stands for love. And this is the letter Y in sign language. So we have I love you. All three of those letters look like this combination. So I love you. George Ancana wrote the words and took the photographs for this piece. He learned how to take photographs from his father when he was growing up. His fathers developed pictures in their bathroom. Today, George likes to photograph people in their everyday lives. Before George wrote this book, he already knew some sign language. In this picture, he is signing, I love you. Why do you think George wanted to write this book? I think he wanted to show us how there are people in the world that we have a lot of similarities with, right? Things that are in common, and also things that are different, right? That Rosina is like you guys, and she's also different. And that just because she's different doesn't mean anything, right? Because there's so many more things in common. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this story. Our religion lesson today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sign language too, so it's really cool. If you have some time, you can have mom and dads help you look up the alphabet, and you can figure out how to sign your name. You don't have to, but that would be a really cool thing if you don't know how to yet. So on Seesaw, I have a picture posted. I want you to make an illustration for me about how you and your family, how you guys help each other, right? We heard a lot about how Rosina helps her family and how her family helps her, right? Her mom works at the school, her aunt works at the school. She goes home and helps her parents with chores. They play games, and they do all wonderful things together, right? She plays with her brother at recess sometimes. And on Monday, we read about a story about members in the community helping you, right? About all kinds of helpers, teachers and firefighters and coaches. And think about if any members in your family have ever helped you and how you help them, okay? So draw a picture, write a short little sentence, and show it to me on Seesaw. And I'll see you guys for religion. Bye, guys.